Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. Be still, my dog of war. Be still. We've got Jordan Christensen.
You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
And we've got Cameron Mickle.
And how do you plan to do that? Look at yourself. You couldn't even drive a wheelchair.
And we have our guest, Nick.
What up? I only came for the gasoline.
Yes, that was my second favorite quote.
Gasoline.
And he says that twice, and it's, 2 out of the 16 lines in the whole movie. It's great.
The gasoline. Gasoline, all the gasoline you
He's
can
a man
want.
of few words.
Yes. Well,
For
more
sure.
than that little kid had, because he didn't even know how to speak.
I was going to do that.
I was going to think about doing that one, too. When he got the little music box, like he's like a Neanderthal. He was tweaking out about it. It's the coolest thing he ever saw in his life.
Oh, man. So, today we were reviewing Mad Max 2 or Mad Max Road Warrior. I think it depends on where. I don't know. Maybe is that actually the official title? Because I thought I saw
That's
Mad
the
Max
U.S.
2.
What they say in the
IMDb.
U.S.
Oh, it's
And on IMDb,
yeah,
it's
because
Mad
it is
Max
Mad Max 2,
2.
but I think it's Australian film, so maybe that's why that has
it
two
is.
titles.
It is in Australian.
They're like, in case you forgot, there's actually a first one, or didn't know about it. You didn't see it. So, this movie's wild. This movie came out in 1981, and it was directed by George Miller. Here we are again. It was written by Terry Hayes, George Miller, and Brian Hannon, and it stars Mel Gibson, Bruce Spence as the gyro captain, Michael Preston, Max
Disturbing.
Phillips, Vernon Wells, Kay Kjell, Kel, I don't know how to say his name, Kel Nilsson. He was the Humongous, which is actually a character's name in this movie. The Humongous. The Lord Humongous.
Well, it just reminds me of that Rick and Morty episode. He's like the boom boom times. And just true. Just the way they talk. It's so great.
Yeah, it's bonkers. This movie is so wild. so and you can't forget Emil Minty, who was the feral kid. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully he outgrew that role.
Virginia Hay is the warrior woman. William Zappa is Zeta.
For his future
He did, Cameron. He
children,
became Mad Max.
He became Mad Max. So let's get into this movie. What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Why don't you start us off, Cameron?
So watching it for the podcast was the first time, and I have to say it might be the last. It was wild. I knew a little bit more what to expect after watching the first one before this.
Nothing can prepare you for this, Cameron.
Because the first one I was just so shook from Fury Road, but then this one somehow made me even a little bit more confused, and more leather and more uncomfortable suits. This is like rated X Power Rangers, which is like, there's so many weird things in this, but it was definitely, I think this one was a lot more like a step in the right direction of the world set up into Fury Road, which I did think was cool.
Oh yeah, like all the callbacks. Like I was surprised at how many similarities there were.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought a lot of that Fury Road stuff was original, but there's a lot of callbacks.
I'm like, hey, this is everything in Fury Road except worse.
No, I disagree with that. I wouldn't say worse.
Worse.
Yeah, worse.
Yeah.
No, it's at least different, and it's fun to watch this because I'm like,
Different as in not as good.
yeah, unless it was tried and true, I don't think that the Fury Road would have worked. And what I think is
for
really
sure.
funny is, like, George Miller needed funding when he did Fury Road because he's, like, working on this passion project and went way over budget. And they're like, he just showed them some of his footage that he had for Fury Road, and people were like, oh, yeah. Send him the money. Like, this is incredible. Because I'm sure they had these to go off of, and they're like, look, this was something fun that we did in the 80s, when we were all doped up or hopped up on goofballs and crack cocaine. But now it's like, look, are we willing to spend money on this property? Like, do people still like steampunk? Do they like leather? I mean, you have to like leather if you want to watch Mad Max, any of the original trilogy. So, yeah, I do think that's funny. Cameron, I, like you, this is my first time watching it today. I watched it today, and I remember thinking, I kept trying to put it down, but I couldn't, and I kept watching, and it's pretty wild. I'm amazed at how many callbacks that they use. It almost feels like a soft reboot because there's so many similarities in this movie as there is to the new one. But a soft reboot might be generous because, or not fair to George Miller, rather.
Overstatement.
Yeah. But again, yeah, there were so many similarities, but again, you still introduce new characters and new motives, and I still found it interesting. Just like when people say, like, Star Wars The Force Awakens is a soft reboot of The New Hope, which it is, by all intents and purposes, has all the same beats. But it's very fair that it's happening in the same universe. Does that make sense? Like, this is the way things are done. And as long as you have interesting characters and a fun told story with great visuals.
But I feel like history just repeats itself.
I'm down for it.
So
yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's George Miller's world, and this very much hits all the same things. So I did like it, and there were still things in here that perplexed me and surprised me. So I thought that was great. So that was really fun. So it was a great first viewing experience, and I would not be opposed to watching this movie again. So, Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So I, like you guys, when I watched the first one, then this, I actually didn't like the second one as much. But then I rewatched it just a little while ago because I'm like, I need to rewatch this because for some reason, when it came out, actually it has like higher reviews from people and critics than the first movie, and I'm like, I don't understand why. And like, and South Park even has like a movie poster in the background of this movie, and I'm like, why do people like love this movie so much? And so I watched it again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I understand why. It's amazing. Like he essentially just made the first one but bigger, and it actually works because, you know, sometimes Michael Bay does that in every movie. He's like, I just need more explosions, which this one has, but like he really does more stunts. It's just so visually cool, like, and thrilling, and I don't know, my heart was racing at some of these stunts these guys were doing because the cars were flipping through the air with like...
Yeah, the stunts were cool.
Yeah.
Stunts were cool.
So
and those
dangerous.
are real stunts, man. No CGI. They didn't have that. It was
Yeah.
all real stuff.
Practical effects.
You know, some people got messed
Or
up.
dummies.
Yes.
People got messed up in this movie, man. I mean, you're flying big metal boxes around.
Yeah, this is the last movie for some of those stunt doubles.
Yeah.
No, jeez.
For sure. Nick, how about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time or rewatching it for the podcast?
So this was, like you guys, my first time watching it. However, unlike you, Ty, I was able to set it down because it took me 3 different passes to actually finish it. Then that's not to say I didn't like it, because I actually really did. It just took me a couple tries to get into it. Okay, and then but once you know, you got 20 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I should have. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
you got through the first 5 minutes of the narration, and you're like, yeah, all right, I'm done.
Right. So, and you know, before I even watched it, because, you know, the movie's from 1982, and you know, Jordan knows I like more modern movies, except maybe some from the 90s. There's a few 90s movies I really enjoy. So I think I put it in my head. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this. I wasn't even all that crazy about the most recent Mad Max, where they came out in like 2015. But it was all in all a good movie, man. It all came together for me. So I was pleasantly surprised.
That's so great. I love to hear you say that, man. And you didn't like Fury Road. I think that's interesting. Or you said you weren't too crazy about it, but
Yeah.
interesting. Is that not something you go for, Nick? For all that leather?
No, that leather, man. I had a leather jacket once, but only wore it once. So.
Dude, I had a jean jacket that I thought was so cool. Wore it twice, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't look good in a jean jacket. No. Man, that denim looked awesome though at the store, you know, on that mannequin. Dadgum, man. Guys, let's get into 2 of our favorite things from this movie. Mad Max Road Warrior or Mad Max 2. Jordan, why don't you start us off? 2 of your favorite things.
Easily the stunts. I mean, I'm sure you guys will get into that as well, but goodness gracious, when they just like shoot those dart guns at those wheels and the cars just go like flipping through the air, I just like could not believe that like actually happened. So many amazing, cool explosions, cars flipping. I couldn't believe it. This movie is really cool visually. And I feel like even if, which he did, he made a movie today. Like if he took these films and maybe did a touch up on them, he could like, you know, fix some of the little tiny things that he did with, you know, Fury Road. He used so much practical effects, then went in and did lots of touch ups. And I just feel like he has that perfect balance when he finally gets there. But for now, like, his practical effects are so good. I think, that's what he needs, is just somebody to come in and touch up this movie. And I think it would be like elevate it to a whole new status, because the practical effects are unbelievable. So I'm trying to think, because there's not a ton other than that. This movie just relies so heavily on that.
It does.
To go into. But I guess Cameron's going to mention him and his dog, and I got to say I do love that. So I won't say anything else about it, but I love that.
Excellent. Cameron, how about you? Two of your favorite things?
Yeah, number one is the dog. The freaking dog is a baller.
Yes.
The dog is a baller.
How about the dog with the shotgun, like, ready?
Yeah, chew toy.
Yeah, and he sees the
To
rabbit
the
go
trigger
by,
of a
and he's
sawed-off
like,
shotgun pointed at
He's like, good
gyro.
dog, good dog.
Sees a rabbit in the road, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna die. No. Dog's well trained. Listens to Max. I love that.
Yeah, so the dog's freaking dope.
What was the dog's name? What did he call it? I can't remember. Do we ever know what the dog's name is?
I don't think that's one of his 16 lines.
Good boy. Yeah, just good doggy.
Man, does Mel Gibson look different in this one from the first one?
Yeah,
Holy
he
cow.
did. Yeah.
Man went from freaking high schooler to like a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, obviously the stunts are amazing, but honestly, my second favorite thing in this movie is the fetching guy with the teeth. I don't even remember his fetching name. The helicopter guy.
Oh, yeah.
The gyro.
He's the weirdest
gyro
mofo I've ever seen in my life. Every scene he was in, I was just like, what? From the beginning of the movie when he's got the crossbow or whatever, and then as soon as he don't kill me, I know we're gas. Like, he was just,
Exactly.
I thought he
Goes
was
right to
just a
the gas.
really
I got the
fun,
gas.
yeah. I thought he was a really fun addition to Mel Gibson. I thought that kind of played off each other really well, because like Mel Gibson was kind of like this cold, like very like stoic guy, and then he was just like this like sleazy guy who like tries to talk his way out of anything. I don't know. I just thought they made a really good team. And I love it how Mel Gibson didn't want to be a partner or a team with him, but he wanted so bad to be his like partner.
I can't believe he wanted to be partners with Mel Gibson. He treats him horribly.
Yeah.
Just like he tries to escape, and then he just like.
Oh, he did
chases
try.
him
He
down.
did try to steal his car and gas before.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, he
all
did.
right, well.
Yep, he was first
He
double crossed.
snuck
and
up out
then
of a
he's-
hole. What the hell?
Yep.
Yeah, and
literally
Mel
out of the
Gibson
ground.
literally
I don't know how
stopped a
he's
snake.
breathing.
What?
Yeah. Put that snake
Indiana
down.
Jones. Yeah.
Put my snake down. Hey, you're quick. You're quick. I bet someone that's quick like you would have a weapon under there. It's great. Love it. All right. Nick, what are two of your favorite things from this movie?
Well, obviously, like everybody else said, the stunts are great. I mean, but moving on from that, I love the dramatic acting. Okay, because it added kind of a comic tone to it.
How about
all.
the guy with the mohawk?
Yeah, the guy with the mohawk is the best.
Oh,
best. Like the first, what was one of the first
Unreal.
scenes when he gets shot with the arrow, and he's going to pull it out, and it goes a close up on his face, and he's got this crazy face, and he's pulling it out, whatever. Just like this, yeah. So I thought that was that's really funny.
Pulling
how
the
about
arrow
when-
through his bicep.
Or
Yeah.
how about, oh, that hurts.
You know.
Or how about when he disobeys his orders and then he has him on a chain,
Yep.
a leash?
Yep. It's just very dramatic, and it's great. The other thing I really like, though, is the background music and how it kind of, came along with the movie really well. I mean, a lot of other times I don't even realize the music in the movies, but this one, it kind of stood out to me. And if you want to talk about getting kind of like pumped up, there was those scenes when the music would just keep going, and I think it just really added a little more spark to that light there. So I want to say the music.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
It's funny that you mentioned it now, because I'm thinking about the music, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I just want to rev up that engine, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
just freaking just start hitting the road, dude, and just drive it as fast as you can, dude. Pushing your machine to its limits. I freaking love it. And the car from the first one. Have you seen the first one, Nick?
I don't. Yeah, it was bits and pieces.
Oh, is it? Oh, bits and pieces. Yeah, exactly. I had seen parts of it. I wanted to watch the stunts that were performed, because it's very cool to see someone that has now a sequel that's world building and yet still does more. But it's not just like self-serving in the fact that it's like, oh, well, it's the sequel. Now we just do more of the outrageous stuff that we did last time. But they're building on this world, and somehow it works. You know, like, which is crazy because it's so different from the first one, but it does explain away, like why was everybody starting to go mad? Like, was there no law and order? Like we talked about in the last episode, how it's like, as long as paperwork's done, like, you can do anything you want. Like, anything goes in this world. And it's really cool how the beginning has this montage and narration, which I know a lot of people have problems with. I like it as long as it helps me explain the world that we're in and what we're in for as a movie. And it's pretty wild to think, like, this was the one that was like, this is the world that, like, George Miller lives in. Like, in his head, I feel like is this crazy, like, anything goes, like, apocalyptic, like, and it's wild because there's all the other movies have the hallmark of this, like, the cannibalism meets, like, the depraved, manic society that everyone lives, like, the seedy underbelly, like, savage type of depravity. And I think it's crazy because it somehow works. And so I did like that aspect of it. And second is just how quotable this movie is. It's very funny. Like, the quotes in it, there's some really funny lines that are like, some of the insults they have for each other are just choice insults. I just think it's really funny, you know. And even moments when I don't think they're trying to be insulting, you know, they like insult each other. But so that's really funny. And then so yeah, quotes and then humor from the quotes. So I love
that you brought up the sounds, because hearing the roaring of those cars and motorcycles are like, I just love that.
It just pokes at your testosterone just a little bit, you know, just it ignites a little coals or fire under your testosterone, gets it boiling, dude. Like, it's crazy. And the engines, like, I mean, that tanker, I think, was such a cool vehicle. This giant oil rig. And first, like, how hard it was to get the car, and then they finally get this rig. And again, we talked about this in the first one. Every single one of George Miller's movies always promise, like, a grass is greener on the other side, but they're always let down. They're always disappointed to learn, like, it was all, like, what we have right in front of us is all we got. Like, try not to spoil it, because there is no other escape plan. There's no other grass is greener. There's no other place better than what we have right now. So we better take good care of what we got. Well,
I like how the people kind of get divided. They're like, no, let's give up our stuff. Like, there's going to be something better out there.
We'll find something better. Or, let's give up. And they're like, but then what? Like, we're going to be out in the middle of the fetching desert with no food, no water, no resources, no fuel. You know, like, very valid points. Like, you got to fight for what you got. I mean,
and that's literally all they have. And, like, once they have that, you really think they're going to let you live after everything else they've done to you?
Right.
I mean, they freaking, like, had those guys, like, in the front, like, strapped to their cars. So you can't.
They burn those people alive in front of them.
They burn them alive.
It's like sacrifices, and I'm just like, you think that these people are going to spare you after you do a deal? Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I love it. And just other things that I love, I know we've already shared our two, but I love the bad, that's a word, of Mel Gibson's character. I think it's so cool when he's talking to the gyro pilot, when he talks to him and he's just like, hey, you know, you said in the agreement that you wouldn't kill me or whatever, you know, or no, he said, like, you would let me go if I showed you where the gasoline was. And then he's like, no, the agreement was that I wouldn't kill you. And he goes, I think you got a pretty sweet bargain there, don't you? Or so, like, I don't know why that line was so dope. Like, I was like, Mel Gibson, like I love when, you know, that's the beginning of the relationship. Like you said, the banter goes back and forth, but I love that. And then, like, it's like a trio. It's like a buddy cop movie somehow, like, somewhere in there. Like, it's him, his dog, who can't speak, but then you have the gyro pilot. And, you know, when he's eating beans, it's, like, really gross. And, like, Mad Max is, like, scarfling beans down. And then he gives the rest to his dog. And his dog is like, I get the next bite. And then gyro captain keeps trying to get in touch with his dog's food. It's like, get the fuck away from me. That's my kid. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
I don't know, I love that so much.
Well, you finally got some at the end.
Yeah, he gets after. Yeah, Mel Gibson's had his fair share. The dog has had his fair share.
Got a little finger scoop in there. Oh.
Gross after the dog.
I wouldn't survive in that apocalyptic situation.
With that.
Nah.
That's
Nick
great.
could not eat after a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's funny?
I just take myself out.
Yeah, I really like the way that they showed, like, the end of civilization as we knew it. like the montage was really cool. How they said like, okay, there was a war, kind of like leaves it most up to interpretation, but it fills all those gaps that led from first one to this one. And they even catch you up to speed. They show you how Max's life was personally affected. Every movie has like Max having like this crazy vision or flashbacks of like he's a very tortured soul. So I think that really works for him because you buy, you know, the Solo, you know, I'd say Han Solo kind of element to him where he's like a loner. He doesn't need anyone, but then he's the reluctant hero that ends up saving.
But he's got his Chewbacca.
Yeah,
He does have his Chewbacca.
It literally, yeah, you want to talk about Star Wars, like, I mean, when did this one come out? 1981? When did New Hope come out? I should know this. 77. Okay, so Star Wars did come out before this, but again, yeah, you had that element of, because even first Mad Max was after Star Wars, but...
I was going to say, I wondered if Star Wars ruined the third one, because they've made it PG-13, they tried to make it more for a broader audience.
Thunderdome was PG-13, is that what you're saying? Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, because I just feel like they kind of...
leather PG-13?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, man, don't kink shame. Yeah, that's not cool, man. So I think it's wild that works because there were some funny moments in this, like with the quotes, but I like the banter back and forth. And the gyro captain, he grows on you at the end, and then you kind of feel something because you definitely think he dies. He smashes down, and he's just like goes completely limp and dummy-like when he hits the ground, and it's so quick. You're like, did he survive it? And at the end, he pulls up, driving the gyro like up the road. He survived. It makes no sense, but I love it. It's so funny.
I just need to know, Cameron, your reaction when the kid throws the boomerang and it hits the guy in the face. Did you expect that?
I was like, what the... First off, what is the physics on that boomerang? Because I know it can come back. I know it isn't you throw it and it comes right back. Because that hoe goes in like 7 different directions and like dodges everyone and then hits that girl just perfectly in the face. What?
I don't think that was a girl. Was that a girl?
That was a girl. That was that guy's girlfriend.
It was his girlfriend.
Are you sure?
That's why he was so mad.
I thought it was a chick.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it was a girl.
It was his significant
It was
other,
his partner. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was a girl.
Whatever it was.
It was his. Whatever it was.
It got one hit.
It was his
kill.
It was his.
I know, right? Tony? I'm pretty sure it was Tony, right? Or was that?
And I love that one guy that jumped up.
Yeah,
and
he gets his
off
fingers chopped out. Yeah,
and everybody's laughing hysterically.
At him. I'm like, what is this society? They just saw one of their own get his or her head just like sliced into like a freaking apple. And then one of their friends just gets his fingers cut off, and I'm like, what? And everyone's laughing. I'm like, this is quite the society.
Well, it kind of serves him right. What was he thinking?
Grabbing a boomerang.
Starved for attention.
Grabbing a steel boomerang that's sharper than hell, just no.
Yeah, I got it.
After it just killed that girl, after it just killed that chick, and he's gonna go reach for it. What an idiot!
Yeah.
No. Crazy.
Should have lost more fingers.
And then that kid randomly does like the front flip and then like burrows back into his hole. Is he even human? Are we aware of?
No, he's like a
abilities
cave boy
are?
or something that they found or something. I don't know.
For all we know, he's like freaking eating that dirt and just like shoveling it down his throat. That's how you make that hole. Because what the fudge?
Like, I love it also, like, I just look for these old things, like, where he had the editor or whatever film the kid in backwards catching the boomerang. It was actually the kid throwing the boomerang, but it comes back to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, I don't know if you noticed that quick,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, how do you get, like, a kid to catch a boomerang thrown at him? It's like, just reverse the shot where he throws it outward. I noticed that just briefly,
they had a guy with a wig when he was like crawling on top of the hood because that was way too dangerous of a stunt for the kid.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that kid, you know, this feral kid, like that's his credit is the feral kid. They don't give him a name, and like the biggest plot twist at the end of the movie blew my mind is the narrator's voice. It's not Max. It's the feral kid. He learns to talk.
Yeah.
He learns to become a leader. He learns to speak eloquently. Like biggest plot twist of all. So I love that. Because the kid kind of like, I don't know, I could take it or leave it. The whole like not ever speaking anything. I almost wish we got to hear the kid say a few words. It's like, did anyone in this society like think to educate the kid or like bother to read him a book or something? Like
no one
everyone
taught
else
him
speaks
English?
eloquently. They have like town hall discussions and meetings and they just don't give a rat about the kid.
Yeah,
No.
well, they I think his parents must have died because nobody was looking after him.
No,
Yeah,
he
no
was
one's
just doing his
doing
own thing. I don't even know.
Yeah.
He's a loner. Yeah. I get it. It just
Poor
like
kid.
what a terrible.
But wasn't he like the
Didn't
only
bother
kid there? No one like took him under their wing, like this poor child. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
what a
and he's
terrible
living there with
society.
him. Like, no one's feeding him. No one's teaching him
No.
anything.
I don't know. He
That's
seems
all.
to be doing pretty good for
Yeah.
himself.
He was. I mean, other than the not being able to talk.
Yeah, he literally was an animal. He literally became an
Yeah.
animal.
Couldn't domesticate it at all.
He
yeah.
became a domesticated weapon. Like,
Yep.
what?
So funny. Yeah. And the whole, like, leading people by chains and people chained up. I don't know. It's like, I can't help but think, like, they could not separate themselves as far as they needed to from the kink aspect of all this. Like, the kinky, like, just being led by chains, people with, like, studded leather diaper areas, like, people have, like,
Ty.
studded beads on their freaking like, it just looks so
That's like
ridiculous.
Quentin can't separate himself from feet in his movies.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like a weird fetish. And again, who knows? George Miller, his personal life. The guy's like 77 now.
Yeah.
That makes me
Ty, it's
feel-
the future. There's always leather in the future.
Yeah, there's always leather in the future. Yeah. What's the one material that will never die out? like leotards, loincloths, and chaps. Guy with his butt hanging out, running around.
If I saw one more person with chaps, I was about to turn off the movie.
Yeah,
bro. I
just
was like,
so
this
funny.
movie is way too much.
Yeah, the costumes, dude. It's just unreal. It's unreal.
This movie
So-
and the first one both had kind of random nudity that I was like, what the fudge?
and some of them were attempts at humor, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like some of them did, but
That just made me uncomfortable.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, my
Oh
gosh.
man, didn't bother to teach the kid, man. I'm disappointed in that community, man. They seemed like they were like the last vestige of hope, right? They were like civilized. They had town hall meetings and stuff. But anyway.
So now I'm curious, Ty, now that you guys have seen all three, which of the villains do you think is the best? I think the villain in the first one is the best, and then I think probably the fourth.
That's
then
funny that you say that. I love movies with a good second-hand man or right-hand man. I love for example, I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones. I like that one soldier that gets eaten by the ants more than the actual villain lady.
Oh,
right?
yeah, she... Her,
The Kate Blanchett
I see
character,
everything,
it's like a cartoon. Yeah, it's a cartoon, and she just dies. But like another good example is like the first Indiana Jones, that big giant burly airline pilot that Indiana Jones has to fight. Like that, I love the second-hand man, and this movie has a great second-hand man. I think the Mohawk dude is psycho. Like they're just waiting to unleash him.
Every time when they
on-
get cut to him and he's getting like his mohawk like trimmed, I'm like, what the fudge is this community?
Yeah.
They're just
Just shaving his
with a
head,
close
yeah.
shave, and he's like,
just always manic, yelling, crazy. I
grunting.
think he's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Now that being said, I do love Fury Road. There's this giant bodybuilder type that's like, I had a baby brother, and he was practically perfect. That guy, like the giant, rips out the motor of a car and is ready to smash it on our heroes. Like that kind of manic, depraved. I think this one is my favorite out of all the Mad Max. Second villain, the Mohawk dude. I don't know what his name is. What
Dude,
is his name?
I love the main commander with the hockey mask, though. The back of
Yeah.
his head, did you see it was like pulsating?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
veiny, like
yeah, the
something was wrong
strands
with
of
it, right?
hair,
He was all
what
burned
the
up.
fudge.
Yeah. He was
Yeah,
all
his
burned
stringy
up.
hair too. Yeah,
It was probably got
Made
too
me
much
think of like
gasoline
every
on him.
40 and 50-year-old
Gas-
ever.
Lit himself on fire.
yeah, I could see
Yeah,
that
he looked like
perfect.
freaking Jason
Yeah.
from Friday the
Oh,
13th.
he did.
So cool.
Terrifying, dude, and the freaking outfit, dude, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, pinhead, hockey,
He is
Jason,
yoked.
where he's hockey mask look.
Gosh,
yeah, terrifying.
yeah, he is in.
And he was jacked too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like back then, I don't know if they had as many like oils and steroids as they were using like they have these days. And you get the Rock that looks like freaking swole as all get out. But like this guy, he looked ripped when he was like threatening. When he was holding, he's like, be quiet, my dog, or my war dog. He was telling
Oh my gosh.
the
yeah.
Mohawk dude, and his muscles were freaking ripped. Like I'm like, that guy could hold him still. Like, and he was tall as all get out. I don't know if he was standing on a box. or
Well,
something.
I feel like
He was
In
huge.
this kind of a world, though, the person who is the leader is the strongest, right? It's like the alpha pack of them. It's like whoever kills the others, it's the strongest one.
See,
Yeah,
except for
exactly.
in
The
Fury
hierarchy is
Road,
established
in
by
Fury Road,
physical
it's
prowess.
different
That's it,
because
yeah.
that guy's old and decrepit.
Well, but he has his sons, I think, watching
Yes,
him too, right?
yes, Karen, I love that you mentioned that. Yes, because again, he built somewhat
then it's
of a
more about-
society,
it's more about
enough to resemble a
influence.
society. Well, and again, Kevin, to keep up the influence, remember they called him Immortal Joe. Like, I again love it because he had to keep the illusion going. Like, you notice he's dying, but he has like a fake bodysuit that they put on him so they can hide
that's
all of his
also
infirmities. Yeah.
George Miller, though, he actually worked in a hospital before he made movies. And so
my
he
word.
was just spent a lot of time around people that were deformed and people that had been in injuries. And so if you notice all his movies, he actually has people from that hospital working with him and that people that have like actual deformities and like without limbs. And if you notice,
It's like, hey,
that's
you
all
want to be a
throughout his
star in a
films.
movie? Yeah, like why not, dude?
Right.
If I had no legs, it's like I would love to be in a film, you know? Freak, even if I'm just clamoring for water or, you know, shelter or whatever, I'd freaking be
Well,
awesome.
even
being
in the
a-
first
an
movie,
extra.
that lady that was the old woman that was watching after them, like even she had those like leg braces. Like everybody, if you notice, you look closely, they all have like deformities, scars, different things. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's that one little Happy Feet penguin, you know, that thing was right or something, or no, wait, oh, sorry.
I forgot to
Never mind.
mention that old lady is the real hero of the first movie.
Yeah, that old lady was the hero, Cameron. We forgot to talk
She
about
was
that.
a baller.
With a shotgun.
Yeah, oh my-
I loved how the guy reacted to it. He's like, "Ah,
I hate guns.
I hate guns.
Hey, God. That's so great. I loved too, like the Mohawk guy. Like, there's a great scene where they're like invading. They bring back the truck, and then Mohawk dude is like up on the ledge, and the guy is like sniping from at the wall with the arrows, and then Mohawk guy sees the guy on the wall, runs up to him, and does like an amazing acrobatic flip over him.
Yeah,
kills him.
that
Like,
was
I don't
like
know,
the
I
most perfect
I
aerial
love
I've
it. Over the
ever
top,
seen,
just
yeah.
awesome stunt work. I just think that's super fun when some guy does like this unnecessary flip over somebody and then proceeds to kill them. Like,
And you can totally tell, and it's so obviously not him. It's just like that video I sent you of the Michael Jordan with the mom. That's my
yeah,
mom.
the stuntman. Yeah, there's some fun stunt work done. I love the. There was a great scene that really did a good job at like reminding you that this world has like been set back 100 years. Like, there's a really funny scene. It's actually played for comedic relief too, where they're going back and forth talking about the repairs that need to be done on the truck after they bring it back to town. He's like, "Hey, so it's gonna need to do this and do this, and he goes, "What does that mean?" "Yeah, what does that mean?" "Well, it means that it's gonna take 24 hours." 24 hours. What did he say? He said 24 hours. Like, I don't know why it's so funny, the communication going
Yeah,
back
they're
and
going-
forth. There's like this long scene, and it was really clever because again, not only is it funny, but it's like that's what this world has been reduced to. Like, even good communication is something that these people can't come by. Like they're resorted to like resources, gasoline, ammunition, like whatever you can
Breeding.
get your hands on. Like, that's your
Ammunition.
life now. Yeah. And I love that. Like, I thought that was a really well done scene because not only is it funny to watch,
I
and,
love
you're
when
like,
you find out that his shotgun didn't have any ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
liked how it showed he had only had a couple bullets,
Yeah,
and it was like
very-
he saved them just for like the most
it's
important.
like playing Resident Evil. You're just like, please give me some more ammunition.
Yeah.
Like, you'll have enough to survive.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to watch, And even some of the bullets he has don't work, which I thought was great,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just bullets that have been out forever. Of course they wouldn't work. So I love that. That was really cool. Any other quotes or scenes that you guys are thinking of? My head is spinning now. I'm thinking about all these things.
No, not really. I can talk about most of it.
Right. I will say it reminds me of Army of Darkness, Jordan. I don't know if you got that vibe where he's like, I'm going to help this village or whatever. Three Amigos, the ending where
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to stay behind and we're going to help you fight out the evil, because like they give him a lot of crap when he's like, I'm leaving, and they're like, what's wrong? You're not good enough for us or whatever. He's like, you think you're the only one that's seen hard times or whatever. It's like, I love that. You're a scavenger,
reluctant
Max,
hero.
a maggot. He punches him. You think you're special, huh? I love it.
I was not a fan of his character.
Oh yeah, that nerdy guy, Cameron. He's like, "Hey, boy, stop fighting. The war's over." And then he immediately gets shot and killed. Yeah, it's like, why did he think it was over? Why did he say, "Hey, it's over, we've won," and then proceeds to get axed? Like, why was he celebrating early? Like, anyone could be waiting to kill you. I just thought that was super funny. Hey, relax. It's over. We've won. Ah! Oh, it's so great.
And also, he like backflipped off once he got shot in the leg. I'm like, you okay, bro? He gets shot in the leg and it looked like he got hit by a 12 gauge to the face. He launched back.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they even took everything from Max again in this movie. Like, bless his heart, Max, like, can't get a break.
No.
He loses his wife and his son in the first movie, and then this movie, his only companion, his dog, gets killed by they shoot an arrow right into it. That's just so heartbreaking.
Gosh. I was like,
Oh, I forgot about
I was like
that.
a little over the top killing
I must have
dogs.
missed that part.
Yeah, it's right where he's leaving and he
It's right,
takes
it's right before
the
his car blows up.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. They trap him.
His
They
dog,
flip his
his
car.
dog barks.
Now I'm
and then
sad.
you hear,
Yep, yeah, and he fires the little wrist rocket arrow.
I would have been much
kills
more
his
happy
dog.
not knowing that, and I probably would have never even known that. I just kind of brought it up.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's what happens.
Yeah, a lot of some of the deaths happen off screen,
Yeah.
so it's just like your imagination has
yeah,
to
it's
kind
like
of
No
fill in the
Country for
rest.
Old Men. Like, if you miss it, the protagonist died. You're like, what the fudge?
Yes.
Yeah. And then that's how he gets saved, right? Because the pilot finds him. Gyro flies him back, and that's when he's like all fainted and he's like nearly dead.
He's like, it's okay, partner.
Relax, partner. I was like, I'll relax when you brush those teeth, okay? Seriously, those teeth were so gross.
Oh yeah, and when he's like hooking up with that chick, I was like, oh my gosh.
No,
I
what
don't
is he
know.
seeing that guy? Like, whatever. I love it too when there's a great scene where I think they're like all starting to fight again, and the gyro pilot's flying over everyone, and he's like, they shoot at him, like they shoot up in the sky, and he's like, oh shit! Like, he yells, and his voice is all shaky. I don't know. I thought that was so great. That reaction.
That was
so
funny.
great.
It was.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Ty, what you just said right there kind of reminded me of the Tomorrow War, that scene when the comic relief, he just starts yelling, he's like, shiz, 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 shiz,
Tomorrow
shiz.
War.
He just says it like 4,000 times while he's running
Yeah.
away from the monsters. That was funny.
Yeah, it's very real.
It's kinda
right?
like
You're just
Disturbia, too.
Never stops being afraid, right? I love, like, again, I mentioned that George Miller might be like this hardcore environmentalist that's not any secret, right? In all of his films, they're very much leaning toward like, this is the world we're creating for ourselves, right? Like Mad Max is like his vision of where we're headed, right? And I really like, what was the illusion? Oh, like you know, like how hunters will hunt like a deer or something and tie it to the hood of their car. They actually had like many people tied to the hoods of their vehicles or tied to the front of their grills, and I thought that was really interesting. Just like a visually speaking, like it looks depraved, it looks manic, it looks crazy. And there were like the two of them that were like from the other camp, and they get smashed at the end of the front of the tanker. I thought that was really sad, but I love it. The attack on the tanker scene is so dope. Like the harpoons, all the cool shots they had, like the motorcycle getting sucked under the wheel, like all those crazy stunts.
Oh. Well, and some people falling off the cars and onto the street, I'm just like, oh, that hurts so bad.
Or even like flying through the air. There was a great scene where they had I was either one of the motorcyclists or just one of those go-kart things. He goes flying out of it and he goes flipping through the air. You know, it's crazy, but it's like really cool, like outdoors to set up a stunt like that. Like,
well, even the people hanging on the side of the vehicles going like 60 miles an hour, that's so dangerous, those stunts.
It's crazy. So I think that's really great. I gotta say, for any nitpicks though, I wanted to say the gyro captain becoming the leader, he becomes the next leader of the city. I guess the one previous wasn't all that great. Cameron's not a fan apparently, but the fact that he becomes the next leader, and then like,
how did he become leader?
Right, like how does he become a leader material? Right, he's an outsider, and he comes
Because
in. And
Ty,
he
he's
just
such a
becomes
lady killer as well, didn't you know?
He's such a lady. And again, the little feral boy, the feral boy at the end, he's narrating. He's like, and Mad Max, we never saw him again, but he's out there. It's like, I love it. Like they set up for, it's like, hey, we just made this sequel. Like we're gonna make a third. We're gonna make a fourth Fury Road down the road.
But why can Tom Hardy not be Mad Max?
No, he
Mel Gibson's
could.
character?
Yeah.
He could, but it just
I think
it
the
makes more
timeline doesn't
sense
work, right?
if the little boy is, because like he has the little music box and he also just doesn't talk very well.
I mean, and again, I almost don't want him to be that kid.
I know you don't want him
Well,
to
just
be,
because,
but
again, to me, it wouldn't make sense just because at the beginning of Fury Road, Tom Hardy is giving a narration. And it is like the boy, I guess, because the boy is the one doing the narrating. But his story is different, isn't it? He says, my world is fire. Like, I like the whole monologue at the beginning that he gives, right? But I don't know.
Well, living in this society, everybody's world is fire and blood. It's like
Right.
you'll lose everybody you love. You can't be attached, and that's what he's learned.
Right, and it's true. Like in the end, I just think that some reason, like there was no boomerang. Where did Mad Max's boomerang go? You know, if he really was the kid,
that was the tie-in that we needed.
Yeah, exactly. If he had flashed the boomerang, and been like, "Oh,
yeah.
I know who."
He made it more subtle.
I knew who the feral kid is. He is Mad Max. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know if there's any evidence because again, Fury Road has so many callbacks. Yeah,
it's so subtle that it's like it's more for like super nerds that like look at the little details. I think he kind of lets it up for.
If you need it to be the feral kid, it's like this could be any depraved manic person that's lived this life.
Essentially, anyone.
And that little music box could have just been It could have just been a cameo for the fact that he had it in the old movie.
Yeah.
That's maybe.
And also, like, I almost think there's an argument to be made. Like, it is like I think someone mentioned, like, I don't know if it was George Miller in an interview, but said like it's a different person. It's not the same Mad Max. I do remember hearing that somewhere.
Oh,
but don't quote me on that.
Well,
like, it might have been George Miller being like, "This isn't actually the Mad Max that we knew. This is a different story." I think I remember.
They should have given Mel Gibson a cameo in the new one. I'm sorry. I think he should have.
I think it was too close to the controversy. I think he was still blacklisted. I think maybe not. Yeah. Like I know he was working his way back, but even today, I don't think he can get work because of some things that were unchoice words that were said.
Oh, brother, he still gets work. You dork.
He does still
well, he gets work, but it's largely because he's producing and directing.
No.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, it's neither here or there. I don't judge. I merely explain what my theory is, my hypothesis is. Why does Mel Gibson get work these days? My nipples are hard when I rub them.
That was South Park.
Say what you will about Mel Gibson, but gosh dang it, the guy knows plot device, or like, what is he, storytelling? I love it. Guys, any last thoughts you wanted to have about Mad Max 2
Road Warrior?
Road Warrior, yeah, not Thunder Road.
Well,
Jim Cummings.
It's an awesome film.
Great movie, but for a society that's starving of gasoline, they sure take every opportunity to waste as much of it as they possibly can, which I thought was kind of funny. You know, everywhere you're looking, there's flames going. They got the flamethrower constantly on. How much fuel is that burning?
Constantly.
Yeah. And then those cars, I mean, 8 miles a gallon.
And talk about an amazing explosion at the end. Holy crap,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
I thought their little wall.
giant.
I thought that was really clever using like a bus.
Yeah.
That
For the
bus
door.
was pretty sweet. Yeah, they had like the side plated so you can't cut through. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that was pretty clever.
Pretty sick. Awesome. Well, we end every movie podcast by showing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Nick, have you seen any movies lately?
I have not seen any movies lately, but I did start that TV show Dave, Hulu. You guys seen it?
Dave?
Yeah.
No, any good?
That's hilarious.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it? Would you compare it to anything? Is it like a show that you watched before?
I mean,
Totally fresh.
it's like a more of a kind of like a raunchy or a little bit of a show. Not too raunchy, but kind of silly. Like I'm trying to think what I would compare it
Like
to, but
The League.
You
maybe
watched The League, Nick?
maybe I've seen a few episodes of The League, so I know what you're talking
Oh, okay.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
okay. Interesting.
No.
Yeah, I just have never heard of it. That's why I'm trying to like piece it together. Like I don't know what Dave is. Like is it?
He's
is
a
it
rapper.
Sketch comedy?
He's a rapper. His name's Lil Dicky.
Little. Now I'm interested. I love.
Lil Dicky is hilarious.
Little Dicky. That's Dave. He plays himself in the show Dave.
That's hilarious.
And he's like the rapper trying to come up, Little Dicky, and he's like trying to get his music out there, and it's hilarious. It's so funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'll have to check that out. Anything else that you're looking forward to?
What's as always, I always ask you guys what's some recommendations, man. That's why I get all this from you. You know?
Nick, I think you might like. I don't know if you like monster movies all that much, but I would say the Tomorrow War. I think you might enjoy that.
I tried watching the Tomorrow War, but the one I put down real fast. I'm
really?
gonna pick that one up again though. Something just came up, and I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, and again, yeah, I have problems with it for sure, but like I still enjoyed it. I think it's worth watching.
It's not gonna change your life.
Yeah.
But
I watched it, changed my life. Yeah, like Mad Max 2
But you're gonna enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
It changed my life. I don't know for the better though.
Yeah, it'll change it. No, for sure. I like the monsters. I think they're cool. So, yeah, excellent. Well, Nick, I recommend a really fun comedy. Yeah, Extraordinary with Will Forte. I think he is a genius. I love Will Forte. Extraordinary. Well, that's the funny thing. It's paranormal comedy, if that makes sense. Or no, is that the right one?
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's like a paranormal. I guess it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, he essentially calls upon Satan to get more like wealth in the world.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I think you'll like it, Nick. So I'll be interested. You should. We'll have you on. So yeah, watch Extraordinary, and if you like it, we'll have you on.
When are you doing
And if
it?
you don't, we still want you on
Next week.
Oh, next week you're doing it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I would recommend watching all of the Mad Max movies. I think they're all in the same vein of just entertaining,
Well,
wild.
but Nick said he doesn't like Fury Road, so I don't think he'd like the other ones.
I
right?
just
That's
I
fair.
just said I didn't like it. I just said I wasn't
Oh.
crazy
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, it wasn't great. Like, and you know what's so funny, Nick, that you mentioned that because I watched it and I was just my blood was pumping. I was like, this movie is so freaking awesome. I went and saw it twice, like the day after, and I recommended it to a friend. And literally, the only thing he said to me after he watched it, he goes, "I don't like steampunk movies." I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's what you took away from watching Mad Max Fury Road? Like, did you not have think it was the coolest, most action-packed movie?" And he's like, "No, I just don't like steampunk." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess that does play a part in Mad Max Fury Road." It didn't even occur to me. I'm like, it's a post-apocalyptic.
Hey, Nick, have you seen Nobody yet? You need to see Nobody.
Oh, yes.
Have not
You
seen
will love
Nobody.
Nobody.
Oh,
It's like,
So,
Nick, it's amazing. You will
do
love
need
it.
to see it. Bob Odenkirk, watch it, dude.
Yeah.
You like John Wick?
It's the same guys right? The same producers of John Wick.
Yeah. Yep. It's
Can
good,
I rent
dude.
that right now? Is it still? Can I rent it?
I think
Is it
so.
available for rent yet, Ty? I know you can buy it.
To rent, I don't know, but yeah, you can buy it.
You can rent it. It's a bit expensive.
Definitely worth it, though.
$6?
I would say, yeah, $6. That's not expensive.
No.
You cheap bastard, Jordan.
Jordan is not actually. Jordan is
$6.
not cheap when it comes to his movies, man.
Yeah, unless he owns it, he's like, I'll
Yeah.
buy it.
I'll
for
buy
$6.
it. I'll
I ain't
buy
gonna
it. He's
rent
got more movies than Netflix at this point.
He really does. It ain't no
man.
joke. Yeah, I would recommend, and you know what? I would pay $6 to watch it right now.
Yes.
Nobody's
And you should watch it
double.
as soon as possible. You will love it.
Yeah.
Right on.
Don't build it up too much, but Nick, you're gonna like it.
All right. Sounds good, man. I'm gonna
For
watch
sure,
it
man.
for sure.
All right, so yeah, we recommend that. Do you have a social
Oh,
media
wait,
presence?
his shoes, Ty. Talk about those shoes.
Yeah, got no shoes, man. You got some shoes? Are you tired of walking around and you don't have good shoes? Tired of looking down and looking depressed at your stupid fat feet? Diabetic shoes? Throw them out. Nick's got the thing for you. Nick, what
I
is
got
it?
the best shoes, baby. Everything you need. Not everything. Well, actually, everything as long as it's a Nike. I got you on Nike. Okay.
The last shoe you'll ever need.
Yeah, for sure. But
right,
yeah,
where
check
can they
us
check
out.
you out?
Check us out on Auxit, AUXXIT, and Sneakers and Streetwear. It's a community. We're growing pretty quickly, so we're hoping to see you there.
Awesome. We're going to end the podcast by just saying, leave us an email, futuromovies@gmail.com, if there's a movie you'd like us to review or movies that you've seen later.
I'm not dipping yet.
Or movies that you'd like to see. Feel free to leave us an email. Leave us a review. 5 stars is the correct number of stars to leave us. And tell us if there's a movie that you'd like us to review or movies that... which Mad Max is the best, and which discussion was the best, because sometimes that's not always the same. So everybody, this is Futuro Hidden Movie Gems. Like us, follow us, share us. It's free. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and leave us a comment, leave us a review, and it really helps. So everybody, this is Futuro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
peace.
I am the road warrior.
Quiet. Peace. Peace, my dog warrior.